name's Stephen Brown. I served with Bravo Company, 2nd Platoon, 2nd Squad, 307th Combat Engineer Battalion. My squad was attached to Bravo Company, 2nd 325 Infantry, the White Falcons. I volunteered right out of high school in 1982. I told my recruiter that I wanted to go to war, put me in a unit, and he put me in the 82nd Airborne. I went straight in July 12th. I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, did MEPS, and then from there, the first time I was ever on an airplane, I went straight to Missouri and Fort Leonard Wood, Austin Woods, and became a combat engineer. We trained on all the Vietnam stuff, booby traps, anything that was related to Vietnam. That's what we were trained in, mines, so forth. And I graduated in my class. I was in the top 3 in my company. Fort Benning for jump school, and then straight to Fort Bragg. The second time I was over an airplane, I jumped out of it. Jumping into Panama, yeah, for my jungle training. We jumped into elephant grass, and everybody talked about it, but until you experience it, you can't see. You think you're going to hit the ground, but you've got another 16 feet to go, and I failed to lower my rucksack on the jump down there and just about broke my leg, but I still graduated. Buddy behind me, Mendez, he broke his leg and didn't graduate. He was on profile the whole time. But yeah, Panama was good training. I was after combat, after going to Grenada, I was picked to go up to Little Creek, Virginia, to amphibious warfare school. And I was picked out of the battalion to do that. Just a few of us went. I spent the night where all the cherries go. And freaking, they gave me, I had a beret with nothing on it. And then I had to march to battalion headquarters. And from there, I had to report to my platoon sergeant. Ray Scott was a seasoned Vietnam veteran, and he was spinning his knife in his hand, talking about Vietnam, and tears coming out of his eyes. And I'm like, okay, I got a hardcore platoon sergeant. It was, and yeah, Sergeant Ray Scott, Sergeant First Class Ray Scott, Bravo Company, 2nd Platoon, platoon sergeant. I was down on Hay Street. I was at a bar called the Sassy Lady. I wasn't drunk, or I was just hanging out with the girls. And it was on October the 24th or the 23rd, because I deployed on the 25th, so it had to be on the 23rd. We were called out because it took a whole day to get processed ammunition, backpacks, dumped out, because everything that our DRF, everything that we had prepared for, we just dumped everything out. And, but yeah, I was at Sassy Lady, and we got called out. I heard that my Bravo Company, which we were on DRF 1, that's what we called it back then, and we went, I drove straight back to Fort Bragg real quick, and I was one of the first ones in the gravel pit, we called it back then. And I was ready to go. Somber. Yeah, I was somber. Yeah, they just had the Beirut bombing, and we didn't know where we were going. That day, that morning, we went, the MPs took our vehicle, we signed our wheels I signed my wheel on top of my truck. And from there, we went to Pope Air Force Base. We were locked down. And that's when they issued the 2 laws, 3 C rations. I had to carry the radio. That was the radio, or RTO, and I had the scrambler on there, and I'd never even trained with this, but they sent me into combat with something I was never trained on, and it didn't work, and I wish it would have worked that first night. We're getting all this ammunition, bandoliers and bandoliers, and I remember that getting onto the plane and flying for hours seemed like a lifetime. And we in-flight rigged, and we were getting prepared to do a combat jump over Point Salines, but we de-rigged because the Rangers supposedly secured the airstrip somewhat. We were able to land a C-141, the first C-141 I was on. The chaplain gave us our last rites. And that was probably when everybody realized, you know, this is it. And also, they gave us nerve gas, amphetamine injectors. I thought we were going to get maybe hit with nerve gas in Grenada. That was, you know, they gave us the injectors just in case. And we were in flight rig. The chaplain said the prayer on the plane, and you could just feel it. It was like, you could just feel it. Everybody, I said a prayer, the 23rd Psalm. Yea, though I walk through the valley of Shadow, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. It goes something like that. But I said that prayer because I grew up with Christian faith, and there was angels watching over me that first night. Yeah. When the green tracers started flying, it was real. Everybody, first night, we got off the plane during daylight. We get high ground, and we stayed low all night. I was trying to pull comms. That's the night we lost Captain Ritz. I couldn't get a hold of my infantry company. We were pinned down on a ridge all night, getting fired at. I'm talking whizzing by all night bullets, green tracers. And that was the first night. That's the night we lost. That morning, the following morning of the 26th, above Little Havana, which was the Cuban headquarters in Grenada. That's where we lost Captain Ritz, but on that hill. That's why I have a group on social media called Heartbreak Ridge. It's not about the movie. It's about real heartbreak on a ridge, multiple times. And the following day, they had secured the compound. We had Puff AC-130 flying over, and I remember seeing cigar rings coming out of the back of that AC-130. I called it Puff, and that's what we all called it, really. Because Puff, the original Puff was Vietnam, but we still call it Puff. But then the A-7s came in, strafed it up pretty good, and I remember seeing people with white flags flying, out their windows, because we were unleashing hell, the fire support from there. And my platoon, because we deployed as a platoon, came in, and I was on the first C-141, but that next one, we got it up, and we moved very cautiously around some burning buildings. Rounds were popping off inside. There was dead bodies on the ground. You could smell the whole. I mean, the war. We were in a hot zone, and I came off when I came off the C-141, there was mortar rounds or something hitting it near the end of the runway. We could hear them. I don't know if it was our artillery or whatever, but as soon as we came out, we ran to the left up on the ridge, overlooking Little Havana, in support of my infantry company. So the first dead body I saw, we just walked by it. So we had to go. Our objective was to secure the Little Havana. So that's what we did. And there was infantry, I believe it was Bravo Company, sitting around when we got there. There's bodies everywhere, dead bodies, enemy KIAs. We had POWs. There's a vague memory that there was a motorcycle and there was probably a friendly KI, but I can't exactly determine. I've asked other rangers about it. They confirmed it was possibly one of their guys. I stepped over to go to the compound, but anyway, I vaguely remember that part. But I do remember going into the compound, and we secured it, put the perimeter up, and I got a guy coming out of the woods, POW, put him over there with the other people. We were at Spanish guys. We were interrogating them because they're Cuban, and we also had Russian. We didn't know that, but there was also Russians there, advisors, and since I had gotten a secret clearance before I went to Grenada, like a week before, I was pretty much in charge of gathering information out of the main office at Little Havana for our government, the CIA. It was handed over to the CIA, and right after all that happened, the reporters were coming. We couldn't talk to them, and it was no go. You can't do it. But no pictures, no cameras, nothing. But and I had to get the dead bodies up. There was like 18 of them, and there's a lady's face blown off from a bullet that went through the wall, and just blew her whole face off, and just had a few teeth. You could barely, you could make it as a female, you could just, physical anatomy, you could just barely make it out. Just see, she was an officer supposedly in for the Cubans. And I drug her body with Moses. Sergeant Moses was a good friend of mine. And he was in my platoon. And I remember grabbing the guy by the back. And his whole back was peeled right off. And those bodies, I have had dreams about that for years. Bad dreams. But anyway, I went in, I was clearing the building, and I came in through the back, and there was a cooler room, and the door was shut, and I pushed it open. There was a couple people laying on the ground. I uncovered them. They were freaking kids, man. And I had to drag their bodies. They were stuck to the floor, coagulation, and I had to pull them and drag them. And we pulled them all out in front of the compound, and we laid them out, and we put sheets over them, tried to respect the dead. And then we went, once we got all that taken care of, the dead body processed, the dead enemy KIs, we processed the POWs for intelligence or, Spanish interpreters. And we were getting people coming out of the woods. I found a cache of weapons up above Little Havana. It was not much, like, I don't know, eight AKs. And, but that was the first compound that we secured at Little Havana. We lost sergeantettes from a booby trap on he was in my infantry company, Bravo Company, second 325, just get this correct. And supposedly he opened a breach of a mortar or something, and a grenade fell out and killed him. Sergeant, Captain Ritz went on a recon, and he should have never gone on that recon that night. But that's when we lost him. That morning, the early morning of the 26th of October, 1983, the media came. We couldn't talk. It was like, after all the stuff I was handing over to the CIA, they were there. And all that stuff, we had a pile of documents. It was about as tall as this table, about 3 feet high. It was big. We turned it all over because all this stuff was from the main headquarters. The main objective in my book would be the intelligence gathering at Little Havana. I know that there was some students. Everybody says we went down there for students. Well, I believe we went down there to stop the spread of communism in Latin America, South America. That's what I saw. And from that, we went to the second compound. We oh, this is funny. I found a carton of cigarettes, so I got strapped a whole case of cartons. It was a case strapped to the front of a dump truck, rusted dump truck, and we got my platoon sergeant. He wanted some Johnny Walker Red, so they had a liquor room, so I stocked him up. Everybody got your rum. I got a little bottle of rum. Anyway. It helped a lot. Captain Davis, he was a seasoned, very seasoned. He was still promoted in Vietnam. From enlist, he was an NCO, and he got promoted to a lieutenant or something in Vietnam. And my platoon sergeant, he was a big guy, twice as big as I am. He was just a monster. And but he was a great leader. I couldn't have had anybody any better to have gone into combat with. Because that first night I was trying to pull comms with a Prick 77. They were laying on the other side of me. As the bullets are flying, I'm like, oh, this is how it works. But yeah, it's just the first compound. We avoided the media. The Soldier of Fortune magazine gave me business cards that were right there. I was like, days. We were already there a couple of days. The bodies. We had to spend. I didn't sleep there because it was just there. All the carnage. The building like this, but it was just Swiss cheese. Lights were shining into the dark, and it was just eerie. And then the smell of dead bodies. That's I can't. Up to till this day, if I smell anything like that, I'll start like I'm gonna throw up. We had some Rangers, especially Delta Force. A guy from Delta Force was sitting at the compound. A buddy, I recollect, he goes, "Welcome to Fantasy Island." It wasn't a fantasy; it was real. Second compound, that just blew me away. It really did. All the arms that they had was the biggest arms on the island of Grenada. We secured that too, my platoon. We secured Little Havana. We secured the Cuban-Russian arms compound, and I call it Cuban-Russian arms compound because that's exactly what it was. The Russians were there, the Cubans were there, North Koreans. There's some North Korean stuff supposedly was there, and there was enough to arm 5,000 men. Sorry, and plus you had the they had Zupa, a quad Zupa. They had an assembly line of those going. They were making them in the process of making them put around the island, and above Little Havana, I cleared a quad 4 of Zupa. It's where you sit and it goes around like this, you know. I took the magazine out of that. Nobody was guarding it, you know. So I made sure that nobody could fire it. Guess we had planes, you know, coming and going. Because you didn't know where the enemy was. You know, we didn't. We had snipers. And we did the second compound in Frequente, Grenada. We did a house-to-house clearing. And we, you know, that was something, doing house-to-house clearing, you know, for the first time in my life, you know. And we were going in, checking under mattresses, going through there, you know, and everybody's under gunpoint, you know. It's just a different feeling when you're 19 years old. We're securing the second compound. We set up a perimeter, and we got a ridge behind us and houses. So our perimeter was sort of around the main warehouses. You had the food warehouse, then you had ammunition warehouses, then you had the headquarters where we got the revolutionary flag from that my captain got, I think. But yeah, the brand new Cosmoline paper, brand new AKs. The smell was just, you know, make you feel real good because everything was brand new. And plus, we were getting weapons. I was opening crates of stuff from Vietnam, you know, round 46. My captain brought one back, you know, but he was carried 45 and really I'm 16 back. But God bless him. And yeah, well, anyway, we did, I think it was Halloween night. We had we drank a little bit of liquor in combat, and that day I had cleared, there was like a factory below these warehouses, and we cleared those with just 3 of us. It was Monty, Silvas, and Jordan. And we went down in there, and I got a block of cheese and some cold drinks, brought it back up to the boards, and we had a little cheese and some drinks that night. Had some movement in them. Somebody opened fire, and it was a cat, or I mean, not a cow. I believe they killed a cow. But that following day, we entered a firefight with 1 to 3 snipers. Buddy of mine, a Christian guy, he says he saw 3 bodies down there. Well, I never got to see them, but I initiated we had a ceasefire, excuse me, and I initiated the second firefight. We were actually at a ceasefire, and I saw movement. I opened fire because we were getting shot at. I was getting shot at. I came out of the house on the top of the ridge to the furthest left, and I got pinned down in the grass, and I ran back in and back into the house, and then that's where I started firing down range. And we fired everything we had. We fired everything. My platoon sergeant, Ray Scott, stood up like John Wayne and freaking firing laws. Brown, I need some more. Go, you know what I mean? I had to run down the hill into the Rush Armstrong and get more laws, bring them up. Supposedly he fired 20 to 30 between everybody. There was something like that. You know, the history says it's, I don't know who's counting how many laws he fired, you know what I'm saying? But it was up there. And we melted a barrel of an M60, it got too hot. You know, it was, one guy got a Bronze Star for driving the bulldozer up on the ridge. I guess, I don't know, but I just, you know, good, you know, I'm glad for him. Anyway, but, yeah, that firefight, when we I mean, it seemed like it lasted a long time, but in all reality, it wasn't that long. And then the airstrike came in. From our firefight, this is what really burns me, because everybody thinks that they know what happened in that friendly fire incident. Well, if you weren't in the firefight that I was in, that's what caused it, because we didn't have comms with the Marines. And somebody in that valley called in an airstrike on the house that I was in, but they missed. They didn't have a grain, they didn't have a target like they do today with lasers or whatever. We didn't have that technology then, but taking the target, right? But they knew there was a house on the hill, but they didn't calculate. They hit our TOC, our command and control, our headquarters company on the hill, and a lot of guys got messed up. When the guy died, Walter Reed, on my birthday, June 30th, 1984. Yeah, that's when my lieutenant got hit. First, Lieutenant Smook at the time. Works, he's a current professor at Harvard now. I've talked to him on the phone. And he wrote a book about friendly fire. Snook, S. Sierra November Oscar Kilo. And so he got hit. And I was getting fed up with the radio. I was sitting pulling comms at night in a Russian vehicle, and the light comes on in the middle of the night. I take the butt of my M16 and bust this living shit out of it. And I just told my lieutenant next day, you shove that radio up your ass, I'm going to dig you a foxhole next my buddy's down there. And that's what I told him. A butterball, I was done with the radio. But, I did do some more, intelligence gathering right in that officer's headquarters. I got a formation whistle from World War II. We were giving out food. There was a forklift, and we did more than just intelligence. We did, inventory on all the weapons that we captured, and humanitarian relief. Okay, there was a food warehouse, so there was a forklift that was broken, it had a wheel, so I repaired the forklift, and I started pulling the pallets of saltfish out. Bags of rice. These people were starving. They were starving, and they came up to the gate, and we started unloading and giving them humanitarian relief, after the firefight and all that. And then the generals came, General Vesey, General Schwarzkopf, Admiral Metcalf, and General Treball, the 82nd Airborne. I met them all at the gate. And I tell you what, I really like General Schwarzkopf. He was awesome, But that's all the brass I needed for that day. But they asked me, how did we get, because I had the lady that I gave the rice to, a older lady, she cooked me chicken curry, brought it on a plate, washed our clothes, and so, helping them out, they appreciated us, and I'm friends today with sons and daughters of their family members who were KI and all our guys, Captain Keith Lucas, and a few others. I'm not going to mention any names, but for privacy. But Captain Keith Lucas was he got shot down. I wasn't near him or anything, but I knew him, so I met him. And it was a Night Stalker, and the first Night Stalker he flew in Panama when in my jungle training, and that guy cut oscill rotation, going about 80 miles an hour through the jungle, and the oscill rotates, the stomach comes right up. That's how I met him. But he got shot down in Grenada, trying to save his crew in a Black Hawk. He's a legend, that guy. But I'm proud to be friends with two of his daughters. In fact, getting close to winding everything down, and everybody had their little, toys like guns and stuff, right? Well, I didn't want to get caught with that stuff coming back, so I buried mine. It's still buried there today. Yeah, 2 Berettas from Italy. Yeah, I'm not going to say exactly where. There's people that did, yeah. Some people try. They're, I call it the mop-up crew. The people don't like that word. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. They came in after we did, and they're the ones that got. Some of them tried to bring in the fuel tanks of Hueys or fuel tanks, but they got caught. But a lot of the MPs were they didn't even. My Captain Davis, Vietnam veteran, he knew the MPs. It's like they walked by us and they didn't check us. But I didn't take a chance because I didn't want to. I brought back some souvenirs, Everybody did. In all honest belief, I believe after that friendly fire incident, that pretty much sort of that was the end of major. I'm sure there was sporadic gunfire, small arms fire around, but I'm talking about with the whole platoon firing everything they got, all rocket straight. Come on, we got left out of the history books. We did.
Yeah.
Our damn weapons. And I get in, and I had to do mine twice because the armor. Yeah. We had I had a conflict there going. Then we had a keg of beer, and that was our therapy. Period. There was nothing for PTSD, nothing for TBIs, nothing. No stress cards. No, we didn't have none of that stuff. And it was suck it up and drive on. That was the motto. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to serve with one of the best units in the Army, Combat Engineer. Oh yeah. For what I just told you, it's the truth, and I'm telling you, it's left out of the books. The humanitarian relief, where all the big brass went to see all the. Mm-hmm. Come on, Admiral Metcalf, General Vesey, my best friend got a tie clip from General Vesey. He's a good friend of mine. He lives in Virginia, and I'm on the phone with him all the time. But he got his picture in the papers, magazines. He's a photo op boy, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, who wants to land on a C-141 on a hot runway? Okay, they secured it, but bullets, they still travel, And so these planes were getting hit. Mm-hmm. It was nobody, they came and went, and they kept on coming, supposedly. And once I got down in the middle of the van and was taking care of my business, I didn't see what's happening on the airstrip, Yeah. I didn't see what's going on. Because I was basically on the front lines, and doing the things that needed to be done, And I think all in all, we did a good job, The bugs, the mosquitoes were horrible. God, I couldn't sleep. It came out with scars all over my arms, These other guys are coming in with mosquito netting. I'm like, sorry, suckers. And flak jackets, Vietnam flak jackets. They're good for about 30 minutes. You toss them on the ground. Just wear you down. You can't fight in that kind of temperature on the volcanic island. And it was hot. It was hot. Yeah, real hot. I got out in '85, so yeah.
A couple years.
Yeah. I was looking back on it, I had PTSD, from some of the events that happened down there, and just it wasn't ever addressed, until later on. I saw, in 1986, I went to a vet center. First recognized Grenada as a conflict or whatever. So I started going there, and I was going to rap sessions with Vietnam veterans. I could relate to them, because that's who trained me. Trained me at they trained me at Fort Leonard Wood. They trained me at Fort Benning. And I mean, I served right with Vietnam veterans. So they were my brothers, forever. And I miss it. I do. I miss the brotherhood. I see her. I just go around and just feel it. See a red beret. It just really feels good to be back here. God bless those brothers who paid the ultimate sacrifice. There's not a day I don't think about them. Seriously. We worked together as a unit. I'd say we did the best job we could. We really did, to respect the citizens of Grenada, to give them back their freedom, to give them, to eliminate that threat. And we did that. And I'm very proud of what we did, and I wish that we could have did more, because we lost people that it just hurt. It hurts, it really does. Other than that, they just had the 40-year anniversary, and all these people went back to Grenada. I decided to take a vacation, because that's what I've been told, that's what they would have wanted. The ones who paid the ultimate sacrifices, they would want us to live our lives freely. It's taken me a lot of years to get to this point, but finally I'm having some peace. I maintain the right. I got the tattoo right here. And be a airborne sapper feels real good. We look at our history, and it goes back to 1917, and you do real good history, and you see all the battles. You look at our guide on it, it's freaking battle streamers on it. You look at other units, ours blows them away, because we've been in a lot of action. We always go. And I'm a proud combat engineer, and I'm glad I chose the MOS, because I'm just a smart grunt.